And sixth graders, welcome to a brief screencast. This is a screencast lesson for Photoshop Basics, and it is for, let's see here, tomorrow is going to be Thursday. I'm recording this on a Wednesday night. So if you're viewing this, you are viewing it fresh on Thursday, December 3rd, hopefully. And let's get right down to it. Brief note at the end of the screencast, we are going to head over to Edmodo for a short little check for understanding, and I'm going to have some questions on there related to what you're learning in the screencast. And just a note that you're allowed to use Photoshop elements when you take the little check for understanding in case you don't understand any of the questions. So anyhow, let's start it up. Though you didn't see it because the screencast doesn't capture my dock, I've launched Adobe Photoshop Elements like you should, and kind of like you did yesterday. We're going to get into a blank new file and practice using some of these tools in the creation of an actual object here today. So when you're finished, you'll have something to look something like mine. Maybe not exactly, but you'll have something close. And more importantly, is that along the way you're going to learn to use some more of the tools. So brief review yesterday. We had a chance to use the brush tool and the eraser tool, and we're going to be using those again today. And we also learned how to use default colors, and that is by striking the D key on your keyboard. You get black in the foreground and white in the background. We are going to actually use some color today, but it's important that you have white as your background color. As you're going to see, that's going to be pretty critical when you start erasing. So always have an awareness of your background color. Anyhow, let's create a new blank file, a lot like what we did yesterday by going to File, New, and we want to choose Web as our preset, just like yesterday. And you shouldn't have to change this background color. That should be set to white. So really, if you're in the web preset, okay, and you're 640 by 480, for a file name you could call it house. We are going to actually save this one today, so that looks good. And boy, I have a really small screen here. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. You can do the same. You might as well be introduced to the zoom tool. The zoom tool is a magnifier, and its shortcut is Z. So on my keyboard, I just struck the letter Z, and basically it works like so. You click, and you get a little bit tighter. Okay. A lot of questions I get. What if you keep clicking and you want to back out? See, I'm zoomed in pretty tight right here. I'm in so tight I can't see the edges of my paper. On the keyboard, if you hold on the Option key with your finger, that's what I'm doing now. Notice how your magnifier goes the other way, and by clicking with the Option key, you can kind of back out. So without the Option key, you zoom in. With the Option key, of course, you zoom back out. So I have kind of a small work area, but we're going to make it work. Anyhow, let's start off with some basic shapes here. Let's say we wanted to draw ourselves a line, okay? And so with our brush tool, if we click and drag, we get ourselves a line. It's not very straight, and so I'm going to try that again. By the way, when you do a move in Photoshop and you want to undo it, Command Z. That's what I'm hitting now. You can't tell, but Command Z means undo. That's why I got rid of my line. This time when I draw my line, and you can pause too. I mean, if you want to practice this stuff as we do it, digest as much as you have to, and then go back and practice it. But in order to draw a straight line, click the mouse first, and then with one of your fingers, reach down and hold Shift. And check it out. You can get straight lines. Okay, so practice a little bit. Click the mouse first, then hold Shift, drag a line. Click the mouse first, go hit Shift, then drag a line. By the way, I'm letting go of Shift after I draw my line. So without much practice, right, I can click the mouse, hold Shift, and I can get vertical lines as well. So I practiced doing some real basic lines here. Now I'm going to undo those and give you a chance to practice that as well. Okay, assuming you practiced it now, as you come back into Photoshop and you've maybe undone some of those actions, let me teach you another technique. This is what I call connect the dots, okay? Let's say I wanted to make a square or a rectangle or a star or some kind of shape like that. One way in which you can do it is to click the mouse to set an initial dot, and then I'm going to hold Shift before I click the mouse again. That's the secret. Hold Shift before you click the mouse. What happens when you click is you get to connect the dot. And if I'm holding Shift down now again, and if I just put the pointer out here and I click, I'm connecting dots. So without much effort, I can make a star, or if I want to undo and practice again, I could click to make a triangle. Click here, hold shift before I click, shift before I click, shift before I click, and I can connect the dots. Okay, so real quick connect the dots technique. Okay, let's combine some skills and another tool and learn to make a house. Sometimes it's nice to draw a perfect rectangular shape. And if you choose this tool right here, this is called your Marquee Tool. What it lets you do is draw a selection. That's called like marching ants in a lot of places. So what I want to do is to draw a simple house. So what we're going to do is take that marquee and draw a little rectangle here and then dump some paint in it. And to dump paint in it, use the bucket. And the shortcut for bucket is K. All right, now you're probably getting sick of using black. So this front box right here, this lets you change your foreground color. Okay, it's kind of tricky, but the color you want, let's say I want a yellow house. All right, you got to get up into the yellow area by dragging the slider. And then to actually get yellow, you got to put your pointer on the yellow you want and click. And you'll notice that when you OK it, yellow becomes your color. And now when I dump the paint in, I have myself a rectangle full of color. Okay, I'm going to undo because I don't think I want my house right there. I think I want my house right about here instead. Okay, you can put your house wherever you want your house. Whatever color you want your house, that's fine. Just make sure that after you're done painting, okay, after you dump the paint in, you got to deselect that. Shortcut, Command D. A lot of shortcuts today, sorry, but you'll learn them as you do them. All right, let's say you want a flivver house and you want a blue roof. No problem, okay? Switch to your colors and I'm gonna go blue. You don't have to go blue. You can do whatever you want, but if you go blue like so and you switch over to your brush tool, okay, what style of brush you use is kind of optional, but I kind of like a hard brush for this because I like to have a more defined edge. And all I'm going to do is click once kind of at the corner, and then remember that connect the dot trick? I'm going to kind of estimate where the center of the peak should be, and if I hold shift and click, I can get my peak. Keep shift down and click again down here, and then one more time over here. And if you don't get it perfect, try again. You can always undo. And now if you're thinking ahead, you can use your bucket, dump some paint in there. I noticed I left a little residue. If I click again, I should be able to get rid of that residue. Okay, so now you know how to do some real simple basic shapes. Okay, let's switch to that marquee again. And what if we want a little window right here? All right, nice window like so. And you know, what color do you want to paint inside of there? Well, maybe I have somebody in there reading, so maybe I'm going to switch over to white as my color. Again, you can do what you want for your house and take your bucket and dump some paint in there. Now you have yourself a nice window. Okay, remember the shortcut to deselect? Command D. Okay, now what you could do is maybe switch to your regular brush, and I want to have a nice window pane here. Okay, good news and bad news. I can do it, but it's not really cool to do it with a round brush. So if you check out these brushes up here, instead of default brushes, you can use square brushes. Whoops, swing and a miss. Sorry about that. Square brushes. They make really good window type panes here. So what size? I don't know. Try a 4. See if that works for you. Okay. Remember how to draw a straight line? Click the mouse first and then hold shift. And we should be able to drag down. Oh, I don't have my correct color. I wanted black as my window pane color. So, oh, you know what? Somebody asked me this yesterday. How do you pick up a color you already used? Maybe you want a blue window pane instead. Cool. There's an eyedropper tool right here. The shortcut is the letter I, and it can be used to pick up that blue again. So if I use the eyedropper tool, click inside the roof, boom, look what I got. I got the same blue I had. Very cool. Now I can go back to the brush tool and make my window pane here. So if I click the mouse and hold shift, I can kind of eyeball my way down. Okay, and then kind of eyeball where the middle is. Click the mouse first, hold shift to work my way across, and I have myself a window pane. Okay, so if you really want to test your skill, you could try to do yourself a little outline. All right, that's testing your skill at making straight lines. It's okay to make a mistake because you know you can undo, right? So there's no perfect right or wrong here. I just hope that you're having some fun and learning something along the way. Okay, you can see mine isn't perfect either. No sweat, but I'm learning, right? So cool. All right, now other things you can do to decorate your house. Why don't you switch your marquee tool? Actually, you don't even need a marquee. What if you just take your brush? I want to make a door, you know, a door, maybe a doorknob too. Maybe you want to dump a rectangular area with your door, okay, and whatever color you think is cool. So this is starting to look more like a house from Dr. Seuss with all these colors. So if I dump green paint in there, that's looking pretty stylish. And then you can switch over to your brush tool, maybe a round brush, and add yourself a doorknob, okay? So I'm probably going to leave it at that. And what I'd like you to do, not in that same green, maybe I want a black doorknob. Okay, I want you to finish this drawing. Okay, what do you mean? Well, maybe you can put some grass in front because yesterday you saw with the brush tool how you can choose some grass. Okay, or if you want to get really creative, check this out. Instead of default brushes, go into special effect brushes. You'll find all kinds of stuff you can decorate with. Maybe you want to put some butterflies out here or some scattered roses. Okay, roses, by the way, make for some pretty interesting clouds, right? Check this out. Bing. All right, I got roses. Or you know what that would be cool for? Maybe some of you see a puff of smoke coming out of a chimney, right? Maybe you want to try a chimney and cut in some smoke and stuff. So, or maybe you want to take your paint bucket and say, you know, I got kind of a UP winter scene here. I got some really dark cloud cover, and I'm going to go with that brush tool and maybe use a different color, maybe something even darker, and say, all right, so I got some dark clouds up here and such. Okay, so go crazy here a little bit. Make your house look pretty cool. And when you're all done, don't forget there will be a short Edmodo check for understanding on some of these skills that you had, probably like five to 10 questions. All right? All right, have some fun. And when you're finished, save your house, right? You want to go to File, Save, okay? And just let it save where it takes you. It's probably going to go to your Documents folder. That's fine. And since you already named it House, that's cool. You can just do Save after that. Okay, and you got yourself a nice looking house. All right, good job.